Welcome to Renew, the show all about the College of Forest Resources. In the College of Forest Resources, we work to manage, sustain, and conserve our natural resources. And it's a great time to get outside now that it's spring. So I'm excited to have two of our guests today, Dr. Michael Sandel and Tobin Davidson, who are going to talk about fisheries. And fisheries is happening right now, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, Dr. Sandel, you have a little bit of an interesting background in that you got a degree in aerospace technology, and then you moved on to fisheries, basically biological sciences, I guess, and zoology.
Right.
So tell me about your path.
Sure. I grew up in Ohio in what we call the Rust Belt. So most families were, working in some sort of factory, industry, and the default for most of us as kids was to grow up and to follow that path and work for a automotive manufacturer or aerospace or something like that. And that's what I assumed my future would be, is something mechanical. I loved working on bicycles and dirt bikes and lawnmowers and all those types of things as a kid. So the mechanics and solving problems was something I enjoyed. But I also enjoyed getting outside and discovering things that are completely new, right? New species and things that I had never read about in a textbook, for example, and really spent a lot of time on my own just exploring the woods and the creeks around my house. So I did go into aerospace technology initially, and then I met a professor at Ohio State who showed me that there's a path for people who just love nature this much, and you could become a biology major and actually make that a career. Maybe not as much money as aerospace.
Maybe not, yeah.
But you got to do what you love, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what I chose. I switched majors about halfway through, and then went to grad school at UA in Tuscaloosa, and I got to study freshwater fishes all over the country, really.
Good. Well, and we're so glad that you chose that path as a fisheries biologist, because fish are so important to sustenance and just our way of life, right? So tell me a little bit about the research you do in fisheries.
So I just gave my promotion seminar a little bit ago with the department, and when I opened that talk, I talked about aquatic resources in general and how we have a world that's covered by water, but the water that we depend on for our drinking water is less than 1% of that. So the water that we need every day and the water that the freshwater fish need is a tiny resource that is under threat because of the things that we've done to change the landscape. So my research is basically focused on protecting that little tiny resource of fresh water on the planet. We've got to go to Russia and study fish in the world's biggest lake. We've got to go to the Amazon and study fish in the world's biggest rivers. And of course, the fish that we have right here are fascinating.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not many people know that we have a biodiversity hotspot in the Southeast. So the states of, Dixie, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, we have so many freshwater fish that are not found anywhere else in the world. So it's great to work at Mississippi State, because right outside the back door is this diversity of, hundreds of fish species.
Yes, and you told me earlier that you've actually found some new species.
Yes.
And so sometimes we think there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
But then you find new species this year.
Yep.
Tell me about the process, how you know it's a new species, how you get that confirmed, and how that works.
Sure, yeah. In this case, sometimes you're out in the wilderness and you find something completely new that no one has ever seen before. That golden age of discovery is probably past. There's been somebody in most places looking for animals and documenting what they saw. But what still remains to be done is to look closely at the features of the animals and compare across their range to see if they actually might have been considered one thing in the past, but if you take a real close look at it, you can actually see that there's more than one species within the range. And so the example that you mentioned is a killifish called a studfish, which is a beautiful fish about 8 inches long that's turquoise and red. And people knew for a while that there was a different looking fish in the Ouachita Mountains. And so when we looked at the genetics and the morphology, the features of the fish, we were able to determine that there's actually 2 new species of studfish in the eastern U.S.
Do you get to name those fish?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and what did you name them?
One of them is Fungulus caddo, which is for the Ouachita Mountains. There's the Caddo River. So that's kind of where they're located, is in that range. And then the other one is called Cryptocatanatus, which means hidden catanatus, because the original species was called Fungulus catanatus. And there's something in there that we didn't know, it was hidden. So we named it Cryptocatanatus. And that's the one that we have in southern Mississippi.
Oh, great. Okay. Now, I know you have a family. Your children, did they not encourage you maybe to name a fish after me? Or?
Yeah, I'm sure they would love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sandel. And coming back, we will have your graduate student, Tobin Davidson, and we're excited to learn what he's doing in fisheries.
Want a career as big as the outdoors? Want to have an impact on the environment? The College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University delivers hands-on training, ensuring clean air and water, wildlife habitats, and a sustainable environment. Creating new wood products and retooling old ones for today and tomorrow. Find a career in whatever path you choose. Majors in forestry, natural resource and environmental conservation, sustainable bioproducts, wildlife, fisheries, and aquaculture. Want a career as big as the outdoors? Choose the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University.
Welcome back to Renew. Next with us is graduate student Tobin Davidson. Tobin is studying fisheries and particularly some invasive species of fisheries. So welcome, Tobin.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're excited for you to be here. Now, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you came from and how you got to Mississippi State.
Absolutely, yeah. Like Dr. Sandel, I'm from Ohio as well. I'm from the Cincinnati area. I don't really have a fisheries background. I went to Kent State University, which is near the top east corner of the state. And there I did molecular biology there. And towards the end of my college career, a professor recommended me to do an internship with the Ohio DNR. And there I really discovered my passion for fish. I've been fishing my whole life, but this is the first time I've really realized that there's a career in fisheries. And so that path led me to Mississippi State working with Dr. Sandel, where I really got to combine my genetic background with my love for fisheries.
Great, great. And you're studying an invasive fisheries species called the gold dojo loach. Did I say that right?
Yep. Yeah,
this is actually an aquarium fish, right?
Right.
Okay. Tell
It's
us a
a
little bit.
species with many names. You know, that goes by the dojo loach, the pond loach, and also the weather loach. And this is a species spread through over 22 states in the United States. And in those introduced ranges, they cause many problems, like affecting water chemistry through the increase of turbidity and nitrogen, and also some competition with native species for food resources.
Are they diggers? I mean, is that why they cause the turbidity in the water? Is that what they do?
Yeah, they love to go into the sediment, and sometimes they uproot the vegetation as well.
Okay, so they're aquarium fish. So did someone actually take them out of their aquarium and probably put them in the waterways, or how does this happen?
Yeah. I think one of the main pathways for their introduction is through aquarium releases. They've also been observed in some places to escape from fish farms. Sometimes they're caught with goldfish in fish farms, and they can escape that way as well.
Okay. And when we think about invasive species, some of them may not be harmful, but the majority of invasives, whether it be plants or fish, can be pretty disruptive to our native species. Can you talk a little bit about that, about invasives?
Yeah, right. So this project, I'm trying to detect these guys in the Cahaba River of Alabama. And something that's really important about that river is that we're in the southeast, which is a biodiversity hotspot. And the Cahaba River is signified as one of the most biodiverse streams of its size in North America. There's a lot of native species in there. So an invasive species can disrupt that ecosystem in any way and harm those species in that stream in some way, whether directly or indirectly.
So, I had a question, burning question, and it's escaped me. So you talked about this waterway. It's in Alabama, and it's one of the largest rivers or lakes in Alabama. Is that right?
Well, it's a part of a larger Mobile drainage basin, but it's one of the most biodiverse streams of its size. So there's a lot of native fish species, invertebrates, and snails.
Okay. And so when we thinking about invasives, is there ever a time when invasive species aren't a negative to our native species?
Yeah, I'm not really sure the answer to that question. I think a lot of times species are determined as invasive because they have a negative impact. I think usually species that either have no impact or maybe a good impact would just be called non-native, but invasive definitely means that they have a negative connotation.
So when we hear the term invasive, whether it be invasive plants or invasive fish, it is always associated with a negative.
Yeah, I would say so.
What they're doing to the ecosystem is negative.
Yeah.
Right? So there are others that are non-native, but that don't cause the problem. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really sure of an example, but yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're working in this field, which is really fascinating. You're like a lot of people don't know that they can be a fisheries biologist. When you graduate, what do you think you might want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. After graduating from Mississippi State, I'm headed to the University of North Texas to start my doctorate. And after that point, I want to continue with research, whether that be in academia or with government in some way. And I want to continue working with both genetics and invasive species because I'm really passionate about both of those.
Okay, and are you coming up on graduation?
Yep, I'm defending my thesis May 2nd, and I'm looking to graduate in August of this year.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So when we think about invasives and how harmful they can be, what would you say are things that we who are not fisheries biologists can do to improve our water quality and fisheries habitat?
Absolutely. Step one, don't release your pets. Second of all, there's a really good resource of citizen science, a website called iNaturalist, where you can report any species you see, whether if you're out fishing or hunting. If you see a species that looks strange to you or a species in general, you can upload it to this website. And a lot of U.S. government programs like USGS and Fish and Wildlife Service, they regularly look at that website as well. So if you report something that may be unusual, that could go directly to the people that can manage them.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here with us on Renew. Again, it's springtime, and I know spring allergies are terrible, but please get outside, enjoy our natural resources, maybe go fishing, see what you might find a new species. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.